Hi, welcome back. Today I'm going to be helping you and giving you advice and hearing you after your breakup. So, tell me what's going on. You guys had an argument, or what was the disagreement? Okay. Well, that's tough. Oh, you want to know if you should call him? You know that famous saying that's going around? Well, I hear it a lot on social media. It says, if they wanted to, they would. And when you're going through the breakup, that's like the last thing that you want to hear. Because you don't want to accept it. You don't want to accept the fact that it's true. If they wanted to, they would. But it's so true. Like, when someone really wants to be in your life, they're going to do whatever it takes to be in your life. Especially when they're the ones that left. I know sometimes we feel like we have to reach out and somehow convince them, and but the thing is, when someone decides to leave, more than likely they've already been thinking about this, and more than likely they already made up their mind about you. So, and if you've been dating for a while, they know who you are. They know, oh my God, what happened here? Your hair's tangled. But they know who you are. And, if they cannot appreciate that, then why would you even want them in your life, There's people who, in my personal opinion, by the way, all is things that I'm telling you right now, it's my opinion. Everybody else, will tell you something different, or may have a different way of thinking, and that's completely fine. But I believe that if things get difficult in the relationship, if things get challenging, if there's things obviously that we can work through, but if the other person is not willing to work through it, for me, it's one of two. Either they don't love you enough to work through it, or they're simply those type of people that run away when it gets tough. And if they run away when it gets tough, they're not ready to be with anyone. Not just you, but anyone. Because if they're leaving, the relationship because, oh my God, we're fighting too much, or obviously there's situations where it is best to just move on, but if it's one of those situations where you're working on it, and they don't want to be patient, and you're with you, and then either they don't love you enough, or they're just those type of people that run away when it gets difficult. And the thing is that I look at relationship like people who are actually married, and let me get more scrunchies, and they're having problems, and if they were just dating them, they would have left them. But because they're married to them, they decide to work it out. So it's crazy how people are willing to work it out once they're married, but if you're not married, you're not living together, some people are not willing to work it out, you know? And to me, that's crazy, you know? Like, it's crazy how you're okay with leaving me when we're not married, but if we are married, you know, you somehow are forced to work it out with me. And, you know, I mean, obviously not everyone believes in marriage, but you know, when you get married, don't they say like for better or for worse, right? So to me, it's like, because, you know, being in a relationship in general, whether you're married, whether you're not married, it's hard, you know? But I feel like when there's true love and, you know, you guys can talk and hear each other out. And there's this guy, I don't know his name. He's famous and he's always giving great advice, especially relationship advice. And he said, the moment a relationship stops, you know, working out is the moment that one of you two, or both of you, but the moment one of you guys stops putting in the effort, stops trying, stops caring, you know, stops caring, that's when things go downhill. And it's so true. Because what does it matter if you, for example, want this relationship to work so bad, right? You want it to work so bad, you're putting in the effort, you're going out of your way, you know, maybe you're bringing him coffee at work, maybe you're communicating better, checking in more often, you know, making sure you say I love you, I miss you, doing all those little things that matter so much in a relationship, right? Why does that matter if at the end of the day he or she or that other person, right, is not trying? Because if they stop caring, they stop trying, then all those things that you're doing for them, you know, the phone calls, the texts, he's just gonna, you know, let them pass by. It's not gonna mean anything to that person because he or she or them, you know, they already stopped trying. So they don't care. They may acknowledge you, be like, oh, thank you, you know, but there might not be meaning behind it to them because at that point they already stopped trying. So I don't know what your situation is, but if they stop trying, caring, putting in the effort, that's it. Because they no longer care to work on this relationship with you. They no longer care to, you know, work it out. And I know it sucks to hear because who wants to hear that? Who wants to hear that the person they love so much no longer cares to even give this a try? I've been there. I get it. You know, to love someone so deeply and to know like this is the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with. This is the person that I truly see myself with, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, or who knows, maybe in your case, you did have, you know, kind of like a heads up or you saw it coming. But it's so hard to accept that we're never going to see them again. We're never going to spend quality time together. Not only that, but just knowing that eventually they're going to move on. That's if, I don't know, in your case, maybe they already did. I don't know. But it's just, it's so heartbreaking and it's so sad. And I'm so sorry you're going through this tough time. Because it's not fair. It's not fair to, you know, have all these feelings and, you know, be so genuine and be in love and be so caring and, you know, willing to work things out, and to have the other person not be willing to work this out, right? It's almost like they gave up, right? They gave up on us, and here we are, you know, with open arms, ready to do what we have to do to make this better, and they don't even care to try. And that is just, it's honestly very, very sad. And honestly, it's making me a little like sad as I'm saying this, because it brings back, old emotions for me. Because I've been there and I get it. It's so hard to let go of people that you truly love, you know. But like I said in the beginning, if they wanted to, they would. And I can only hope that everything works out for you, that that person calls you, that they reach out. And if that doesn't happen, don't let this situation drown you. Don't let the situation take over your life. Don't let it, you have to do you every single day. You have to do what you normally do. You have to find joy in things that you love doing, and go do that. And if you feel like it helps you to be around friends or family, or to go out, or whatever you feel like helps your mood, whatever helps you feel better, then you go ahead and do that. But don't pause your life. Don't put yourself on pause, because life goes on. We can just stay, obviously it's going to take some time. Sometimes people get over situations much faster. In their situation, they're probably going to get over us much faster. In fact, they might be already kind of over us, right? Because they're the ones that broke up with us. Versus us, now we have to, probably will take us much, much longer. And it sucks to know that. It sucks to feel that and to be going through it. But I do wish that everything works out for you. And just do me a favor. Don't be looking down on your phone. Don't be jumping to your phone every time you hear a text, and don't do that to yourself. I've been there, done that. It's just, no, don't do that to yourself. But I hope, that, oops, my light just went off. But I hope that this helps you out a little bit. And again, this is my personal advice, opinion on things. Everyone's different, and I very much respect that, I think it's good for you to talk to your friends, families, and also get their, their opinions. But I do wish you the best, and I wish that whatever you're feeling right now, I hope that, soon you'll feel better. And yeah. Okay. Talk to you soon.